Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, if you've been watching the live streams that I do every week, you'll notice that a couple weeks ago somebody suggested I should set up an Amazon wish list. And I thought, you know what, that might be kind of fun. So I did. I set up a bunch of things. One of the things I kind of focused on was some little HO scale buildings that I could use for my train set. And so I put a bunch of like little fun little buildings, gas stations, houses, little miniature people, little miniature cars that are all scaled to the HO scale, which is what my trains are. And one of my viewers, Susan Flanagan, latched onto that and sent me a few things, and we'll talk about some of those in future vlogs. But one of the things she sent me was this cool little vintage Dairy Queen building, and that arrived a couple days ago. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to put that together and we're going to see what it looks like. And when I say put them together, I mean put them together. These things are some assembly required. They're basically like models where you cut all the pieces apart, you glue them together, and it forms basically this cool little vintage Dairy Queen building. And so what I got to do, I haven't done model building since I was a kid. So I'm going to have to run over, pick up some supplies like glue and paint and stuff like that. And this is a perfect time to go check out that new hobby town that got built. Well, they moved from their old location a few months ago. And I've been there once or twice, but I was kind of looking for train stuff, and they didn't seem like they had a whole lot more train stuff, but they have a lot of model stuff. So I expect I can find some model glue, some paint, some paint brushes, and all that stuff. So we're going to start with that, and then we're going to come back and we're going to put this thing together. So I'm back from Hobby Town. I picked up some of the stuff I need to do the painting and the gluing. I gotta admit, model work has changed a lot since I was a kid. Last time I made models was probably about 10, and some of the supplies and stuff that they have now have definitely changed. This is, I guess, what they're using now for glue. I remember the old days where we used Testor's glue in a tube, and now I guess they got this stuff, and that's what they're using now. I got some red because the two colors that they have in the plastic are the white and the gray, and the white is going to be fine for the bricks, and the gray is fine for the roof and the floor and some of the stuff, and some of the like the air conditioning and stuff like that goes on the roof, and some of the stuff that goes inside. But there's a little red trim here too, so I found some red. And if you really look closely at the picture, there's like little vents on the top of the roof there that are kind of a silver color. So I got some silver paint too. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the stuff first before we go in and glue it all together and get kind of everything, painted and ready to go, so that when I assemble it, it's just it's good to go. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to pull off this piece, this piece. Actually, sorry, this piece, and this piece. Going to paint the red trim on it, and then figure out how the roof works here, and paint the trim around the side for that. So we'll get that done first, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, a little bit of time has gone by, and I've painted the trim here on this. I painted the trim around the top of the building, which is on the roof, and I also went and painted these little things here. These are supposed to be air conditioner returns that go on the roof, and they're supposed to look like they're metal. I know it doesn't really stand out that much from the gray, but I just left them on the frame and painted them around that. I think they look good. This stuff dries really fast, so we're going to move on really quickly on to the next step, and that's when we're going to start assembling this. Now I've taken the glass pieces. There's actually glass pieces that go in all the windows, and I've glued those to the back. That's the front piece, so you can see there's the glass in there. One of the side pieces, so you can see the glass in there. And also this little window in the back. So we've attached all of the glass pieces in there, glued that into place. Another thing I'm noticing is this glue dries really fast too. That's a good thing, because that's going to make it all connect up and allow me to move from part to part very, very quickly. It took like a minute or two for this glue to set up. So I'm ready to move on to the next step. Okay, I've got the walls, the inner wall, and the internal counter all set up. Starting to look pretty good, right? I think what I've got to do now is just put the roof on. Then I need to install the air vents, the air conditioner unit, and then we got this really cool Dairy Queen sign that goes on the top. So we're coming close to this. This is going pretty quick. This one was going together a lot faster than I thought it would. All right, I got the roof attached, looking pretty good. Got the little ledges here that your ice cream would be passed out onto, and that's ready to go. I've also attached the little air conditioner vents on the top, and now all I gotta do is assemble the air conditioner unit. That's a bunch of little teeny tiny pieces here that have to be glued together, and then they'll be kind of glued into the back here, and then I'm gonna attach the sign, and we're gonna be done with this thing. This thing actually went together a lot quicker than I thought it would. All right, so got the air conditioner mounted on the top. Kind of cool detail on that, right? So we're almost done. We got one more piece, and that is to attach the little Dairy Queen sign to the top of it. And then our little project will be done. I'm thinking here I also want to kind of run along this edge a little bit with a little bit more of the red paint, because it doesn't look as good as I'd like it to yet, because I think I probably should have gone across the top of that. But that'll be a little bit of touch up at the end, but I think this is starting to look pretty good, huh? Not bad. Not bad for somebody who hasn't built a model in 40 years, huh? 45 years, something like that. Let's put the sign on. Okay, there's our final product. That actually looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Now, I did go around and hit the top of the building a little bit. Come on, focus for me, camera. I also kind of went around the inner edge a little bit and hit that again. Now, one of the things they mentioned in the directions that you could do is that you could attach little vintage Dairy Queen ads into the windows, and they don't really tell you very well how to do that or where to find them. But I was looking online and I found some kind of cool stuff, and I'm going to see if I can attach some vintage Dairy Queen ads in the window. I'm going to make little stickers and stick them in there. It's going to take a little doing, but I think I can improvise something. But that looks really cool. That's going to look great in my village when we get the train set up again, isn't it? How cool is that? I was kind of bouncing around the internet looking for some, like I said, vintage ads here, and I found a few options here that are kind of that would look very cool. This little Jack and Jill thing here, that's definitely really vintage. Mr. Misty, I could probably print out one of those. That there looks like a collection of different ads. That's probably, yeah, that's this thing here. That whole thing is just filled with gold here. So I'm going to try printing some of those out. I'm going to have to put them into Photoshop, scan them down really, really, really tiny, because in order to fit in the window, these things are going to have to be like 1/4 of an inch tall. So I'm going to have to print them out really high resolution at very small sizes on some sort of a sticker thing that I can put on there. We're going to try that and see how it looks. So this is the image I've chosen here. I popped it into Photoshop and rescaled the image, because the image itself, if you print it out at its native resolution, is going to be a 13-inch by 13-inch image. But since my building is only 1.5 inches tall, I'm going to have to make this a lot smaller so it'll print out just tiny. And I've basically reformatted the image so that the image will only be 1 inch tall. So from here to here is going to be 1 inch. And so in reality, when I print it out, it's going to probably be about that size. And at that point, I'm going to cut out the individual little ads. I'm going to print it on a really high resolution photographic paper so that I keep the image resolution up. And then we're going to attach these little, probably 1/3 of an inch high ads onto different parts of the window in my Dairy Queen building, in my Dairy Queen miniature. And I think that should look pretty cool. So I'll show you what that looks like when I print it out. All right, there's my printout. Like I said, this thing's tiny. Each of these ads is probably 1/3 of an inch tall, but that's what they're going to have to be in order to fit into these windows here. So it's the real details that sell things like this. So I'm going to cut these out. We're going to attach them to the exterior windows of the Dairy Queen, and let's see what that looks like. Should look pretty cool. So I don't even know how well these are going to show up on camera, but they're going to look awesome in the window. They're between 1/4 and 1/3 of an inch tall, so they're going to fit perfectly into these windows here. And like I said, on stuff like this, it's the details that really make it work. So I'm going to put a couple of them on the side windows, a couple of them in these center front windows, and probably a couple of them on the side windows here. And like I said, this should look pretty cool. All right, there's our final product with the little vintage ads in the window. I think that looks fantastic. I don't know, I'm really pleased how that turned out. That looks really neat with all the ads in there. That's going to look great in the train, in the little train village here. Hopefully we'll get a few more of these and we can put these all together and really add to the effect. But how awesome is that? I'm going to probably want to get another little vintage ad and put in that window there just to kind of balance everything out. But that went together pretty easily too. I thought this was going to be a little bit more complicated, but the instructions are fairly easy to follow, and like I said, I'm happy with the results. So I want to thank Susan Flanagan for contributing that. She also contributed a few other things, and we'll be showing you those in the future. But if you're interested in participating in this and helping me build my little train village, there's more things on my Amazon gift list page, which you can find right on the front page of my Escaping the Mouse channel. So I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching. Thank you, Susan Flanagan, for the contribution, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.